Well, yeah, and James, I just want to bring it around, us kicking off 2023 with our friend Bobby. And when you think about it, though, we're going to go into much deeper later on, but we really forged our relationship last month at the Alabama Pipeline Safety Conference. That's really when we got together. And lo and behold, everybody knows that I love and endure relationships in the industry. And here, all of a sudden, some of the fruits of what we do, and it's exciting to be together today.
It really is. Bobby, we just assume everybody knows Bobby.
Well, they
Bobby
do, don't they?
Bobby Purvis from
Not at all.
Daphne Utilities Board. Bobby, welcome to the show. Welcome to
Welcome.
2023. This is season 4 of Coffee with Jim and James. Despite all of our performances, they kept us around. We didn't get canceled, and we're kicking off 23 with you, sir. How are you this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. And James and Jim, thank you so much for allowing me to come on your podcast. It's a pleasure. And meeting you in person and listening to your keynote speak. It was fantastic. Enjoyed being here.
A lot of synergies there. Once we got to talk, out in the lobby,
Absolutely.
so to speak, and just kind of decompress, we have
Right.
a lot of synergies.
We did. So, and Bobby, full disclosure, so you're the first guest. We did do a kickoff episode we recorded yesterday. Jimmy and I did by ourselves. And we talked at length about that conference and how, number one, how great the folks are there. We love the
Right.
folks down there. It was my first time attending. Jimmy, it was yours too, right?
Yes, it
We
was.
just weren't ever able to make it work. And I tell you what, we're big fans. And we had a blast down there, and we really enjoyed kicking off the conference the way we did. And as soon as we kind of got wrapped up, we ran into Bobby. I say we ran into him. I think he came and found us.
Oh, he tracked us down.
And it was instant validation for what we had hoped to achieve. Jimmy and I had talked a lot about really wanting to motivate people to get moving on things, and Bobby found us, and man, you talk about striking up a conversation and a friendship. The rest is history, right? And I was like, Bobby, you got to get on the show with us. And here we are. But it was so much fun, such a great conference. What'd you take away from there?
Well, that's one conference I try to make every year. Not only the technical aspects, but that's mainly where the people, the movers and shakers of the state, they usually attend that, and all our regulatories. I feel it's very important when you reach out and you create these friendships and these networks. They take you through the year. There's so many times where a problem will happen or we'll have an issue, pick up the phone and call someone. Someone has had this issue before, or they can help you solve yours. So to me, it's fantastic. It's a great conference.
Yeah, far blew me away. Randall Hand, I met Randall with the state of Alabama years and years back at the Louisiana Gas Association big 192, 195 event in usually in the summer months. And he's been asking me for years, and I've always had conflicts. And I made a declaration to him last year. I said, barring something crazy, I will be there. And plus, I'm going to drag James along too. And it was probably one of our most favorite conferences of 2022, James. I'd put it definitely up there in the top 3.
It was a lot of fun. And interacting, getting to meet folks. Bobby, you weren't the only person that came up, but you were definitely one of the ones that when I got home, I was like, man, I'm going to reach out, see about getting you on the show. I want to learn more about what Daphne's doing over there. And Jimmy, let's get in there. Man.
Well, let's do that. Let's build on that.
It's our first one. We're a little rusty, Bobby.
That's okay.
We're getting our podcast legs or whatever that is.
I like it though. I like how we're just kind of like flowing into this. But I think the important part is, James and I and the audience really love origin stories. So we're going to give you the floor for a few minutes. Tell us your origin story, where you began, your passion, your purposes. Your
path to Daphne and what you've done since you've been there.
Yeah, give it to us.
Well, I have a varied past because I started my young career in law enforcement. I spent a number of years in law enforcement, and so I worked my way up through the ranks and was able to do some really cool things in law enforcement. And I wanted a change. With law enforcement, there's a lot of demand on shifts, and you miss a lot of birthdays and holidays and things of that nature. So I had an opportunity to take a job with, at the time, it was Mobile Gas, and I think Spire has it now. And with that,
Shout out.
yeah, absolutely. I took the lowest job they had and got some heads shaked. I'm like, what are you doing? The name of that job, the title was mailboy. I had worked my way up. I had been with City Mobile 9 years at that point, was on the SWAT team. I was an instructor in the academy. I thought I had a really, really good reputation and took the lowest job at Mobile Gas. And I said, I got to start somewhere. After a little bit, I'm saying a few months, got a promotion to janitor. I was so proud of that. I was like, wow, I'm moving on up. An opportunity came up, a position as supervisor in construction. And I applied for the job. I thought, I'll just apply. I don't really know anything about that, but I'll apply. I interviewed. I think the interview went really well. I came up with some ideas. I researched 192, went through and through.
Nice.
And they called me in after the interview and they offered me the job. I was floored. I couldn't believe they were giving someone who really didn't have that much experience in the industry an opportunity.
Bobby, how old were you at this point?
I was 31 years
I can
old.
ask that because he doesn't work for me. See, it's fine.
I was 31 and I was excited. I knew that what the challenges were going to be. I ran into a mentor. She was the one that promoted me. I thought, wow, what bravery it took for someone to take someone from where I was at, the level I was at, and put them into a leadership role. That was brave. And I've never let that go. And everything that I look at today, I think, wow, you need to be a great leader. You need to be brave and take chances on people.
Definitely.
And so I worked there, moved into engineering. It took me all over the place, but I did leave there and go overseas and work for a little while in Iraq. But when I came back, I knew I wanted to get back into utilities. I had an opportunity here at Daphne to take on the role as natural gas manager. Loved it. But when I arrived, what I did notice was there was a need. And when I saw you guys at the conference, you're talking about things that most people don't talk about at gas conference, leadership, development. They don't talk about it. I got so excited. I was like, wow, this is so needed in our industry. And that's why I was just drawn to you guys. But when I got here, I looked around, I was like, you're putting young people in positions that are excellent at what they do, technical experts, but you're not giving them any tools. You're not giving them any training to be successful, to be a leader in their departments. So I approached the GM at the time and I had this idea of starting an in-house leadership program. And he said, well, I'm not sure we have time for it during the day. I said, well, I'll volunteer to come at night. If I can get some people to come at night, would you support me in that? He said, sure. So we held our first one, and it's been 7 years now since we held our first academy. In that, we had 7 members, and we have 80 plus employees. 7 doesn't seem very large, but that's almost 10% of our whole staff. The people that were in there, we had 7 people. 5 has been promoted to management. They're just exceptional people. We still talk about it today and the things that we learned. So that's where it's very exciting. For one, it's volunteer. They have to have teeth in the game because you know what? They are volunteering their time to spend with me, and I bring in speakers and things of that nature. We're going to touch things they normally wouldn't touch during the day. Has nothing to do with putting in a gas service or fixing a water line. None of that. But we talk about those things.
Bobby, that's awesome. Oh, go ahead, Jim.
I was just going to ask, do you spend a lot of time with the Colonel from Huntsville?
That's what I was going to talk about. If you bring up you go ahead. I'm going to write down what I said because I know what you're going to say.
No. You know the Colonel, John Olszewski from Huntsville Utilities by chance?
Right.
Have you spent much time with him?
I have not.
You need to. Because he and you, and I'm sorry, James, I stole your thunder, or I didn't steal thunder. We're on the same wavelength.
I already wrote it. It's going to be what I said. Go ahead. What does he say?
It's just, the Colonel talks about his time in the servicing or giving service to our country, his time in the military, and how much time they spent not just doing PT, physical. Go ahead, man. Let's share yin and yang.
Yeah.
Come on.
What he says is that, in the military, they give you 30, 40 years of leadership training. And in civilian world, you wake up one day and someone leaves and they go, hey, you're the leader, and you're going to learn by walking around. Like, that's how you're
Yeah.
going to lead, and that's not a setup for success. And I know we
No.
don't have the luxury of 30 years, but we can give people 5, or like you said, 10% of them this or what. Like, that's the commitment that I like to see. I want to talk a little bit about that. So I was going to bring that up, but I had a second point, Jimmy, which
Go
is
ahead.
I want to talk about the Leadership Academy a little bit more and some of the elements and things that y'all, and it doesn't just have to be in the one that just, because y'all just had one, right? That concluded.
We're in one
Or
right now.
in one.
We just started it. Yes, sir. We just started.
Do you need us to show up?
We would love it.
A little bit?
Absolutely.
So that's the challenge
love it.
number one. You let us know for next year. We'd love to be involved. We'd love to
Okay.
come kick
Definitely.
it off with you. The other thing, or what are some of the elements or some of the topics, or in the past, current, that you work through in these academies?
So one of the things that we do, and well, I say we, when I first started it, I had some help. I had a couple of managers and things, but what happens is life takes over and they run out of time. And so I became the champion for this, and I do this alone. So I don't have a whole lot of help. So I put together a curriculum. Now this year I'm blessed because I have our GIS guy ask, hey, can I help you? Can I be part of it? Now he was part of one of the classes. He went through it, and I said, absolutely. So he's been great, because it's great when you have technical support behind you. So some of the things we talk about, I try to hit every class. We'll have a serious subject. Now it may be employment law. We'll cover employment law. I'll have HR come in and talk about how important it is to know employment law, because if you're going to be in a leadership role, you're going to know to do that, protect your organization, protect yourself, and treat people correctly. The last part of that class will be a leadership topic, whether it's what is influence? How do you create influence? Is culture something that you can create, or is it a byproduct of how you're running the organization, the processes you're putting in place? So that's how we design the class. Yes, it's going to be a serious topic. This last week was public speaking, public writing, how to make sure that you're wording things in a proper way.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that was, how are you building influence by giving of yourself, being that servant leader? And so that was the last part of the class. We do that throughout, and it's about a 10-week. We meet 10 times in a year, and it's every other week. So we do have some, and we try to push these people to get outside their comfort zone. Not everyone likes public speaking.
No.
And so I have everyone in there. We have some interns that's going to be coming in. We're going to be going to talk in high schools. Our communications manager reached out and said, are you going to speak? Absolutely not. I'm not. But I got 7 people that are going to speak. So I'm going to put them out in front of this high school and give them the opportunity to speak about their passions, and see if we can draw some high school folks into getting into utilities.
That's nice. I like that.
That's awesome. Well, I'm being serious, Bobby. We would love to be involved. Y'all are longtime clients of ours. I looked it up this morning. I had somebody pull it, 17 years.
Wow.
That's a long.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
Thank you.
Which kind of sets up kind of my next point. But seriously, we'd love to be involved. We have a soft skills class that I absolutely love, that I'm fortunate enough to get to teach as well. It's an all-day class, but man, it's some of my favorite work that we do is, helping leaders that are put into those roles that, have a great tenure and all this experience, but really like what the colonel said, was put into a role, and we really need to develop them in some other areas. And I think it's an opportunity. But Bobby, y'all been clients 17 years, and I think the progression, we were joking about it this morning. Jimmy said they've been there about as long as the OQ rule has.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's funny, but the progression of this conversation is that we were at a conference last month with you talking about professional development and being able to deliver that, system right next to OQ, which I think is an amazing progression. And when we talk about that, how neat it is to be having a conversation within our industry about leadership development, about professional development, about culture, about, you just said, is culture a byproduct? Like, most people don't even understand what it is to understand that it could be it is the output, right? why is it so important, number one, for you, for Daphne, for this industry, what you're doing with Leadership Academy, this focus on developing our groups? Why is it so important to Bobby Purvis?
Well, let me back up a little bit. When I was offered, I was, like I said, I was the natural gas manager. 2017, it was not a good year for Daphne Utilities. And a lot of people don't want to talk about the rough times in utilities, but we had a rough year. We had some major failures. We had a shift in leadership. Someone left that was at the top. We were being sued by our regulatory agency. The news was painting us as the devil. It was bad, and things were not well. This position that I'm in as operations manager came open. I applied. They were very honest with me and said, this might not work out. They could come in and clean house. Okay, I got it. I got this. But I also knew that whatever that culture is being created in the background, and this is my opinion, but culture is not a poster you stick on a wall. Culture isn't something, culture isn't something that you just talk about. I rarely talk about culture. I talk about the things that we're doing, and they say, oh, yeah, I have a great culture. That's good. If you can see it, that's fantastic. That means the things that we're doing mean something. But the work that I put in to develop people, to make sure that negativity went somewhere else to be successful, because you can't be successful here with a negative attitude. Bring smart people in that have the same philosophy, and everyone speak the same way. We're all going to be on the same page. We turned it around. It wasn't 18 months. This was not the same utility. And it was so exciting because when I talk to people like you and that have the same mindset that leadership is real, leadership is needed in the industry, that it can really make a difference. When you see it at work, I get so excited. I get chill bumps thinking about this works. Why aren't other people doing this? Why in other industries? Don't wait till you have a problem. We as a company probably waited too long to really realize it's the people that matter. It's how we treat them. It's the tools that we give them to be successful. And once you invest in those people of yourself, being that servant leader, giving them the tools needed to be successful, and seeing what they can do, all you got to do is sit back and watch what happens. It's exciting. I get a little more excited than most people, but I've seen it. I've seen it happen.
That was a tangent. Bobby, we almost called this show Tangent because that's what it always turns out. Like
That's
when
the
we're
best
doing
part.
our best work is when somebody goes off on something that they're really passionate about. And you
Yeah.
can see it, you can feel it, you get cold chills. The people that have been through the academy, the people that have seen in and out of our organizations, I mean, across the board, that have seen the investment from their employer or from their leader or into their teams, they get it. They understand it. It's awesome that we're talking about this. I mean, it's well overdue. Our industry deserves it. Our people deserve it. We talk about safety all the time.
Yep.
This is psychological safety. This makes me want to come to work. This makes me want to lead. It makes me want to make a better place. And I like it.
I love it.
Man, what a great day to be talking about this, Jimmy. How
Hey,
blessed are
absolutely.
all of us to be able to, we're getting paid right now to share our hearts with these folks. It's amazing.
And
Right.
I wouldn't trade these minutes for anything. This is a lot for just a wonderful amount of information. And really, when I think about it, I use these terms a lot, passion and purposes. And when you hear the passion and purpose in Bobby's voice, it resonates. And the cold chills is not you weren't joking, James. That's a true thing.
I wrote something down that I would be remiss if I didn't ask Bobby based on the origin story. So I'm going to go back. This is not on script. I told you it was just a roadmap, and we were going to go all over
Absolutely.
the place. There's barges and ditches for a reason. Bobby, you talked about, I wanted to come, but you said you did some work overseas and you were going to come back and work at a utility. How do you feel about this industry? Can you tell me from your vantage point, you've lived it, you've been in it. We've asked this question to so many people, why this industry is the way it is. Why do you love it so much? Why do you wake up every morning, invest your time in it and into these people?
We have this conversation at a high level here because when you get to work at a utility, this is an opportunity to serve a community. That's something that most people can't say in their work. I get to serve a community. It's an awesome responsibility. Excuse me. But to me, when you can convince these young people, put in the work, be passionate about what you do, and look what comes, you'll get such gratification. There's not a day that goes by that I don't look around at what we do, the people we interact with, our customers, our young people that are coming into this industry. Thinking back of what I thought about utilities when I was getting into it, I had no idea. The people that you touch, the customers, and it's okay that we work behind the scenes sometimes. It's okay. But we all know when we're walking up and down these halls, we're the ones holding this city together. That's exciting. I mean, we can almost high five each other in the parking lot knowing nothing bad happened today. We kept all our customers in water, sewer, and gas, and that was absolutely what we needed to do.
Love it.
It's wonderful getting those wins, even if they're silent to the majority of the community or whatever, but you still feel the wins. And I love that.
Right.
Holding a city together.
Yeah. I mean, really, there's a lot of pride in that. And there's a lot of satisfaction in that. You drive around that city and all of a sudden you're like, you touch everybody's lives in some way.
Bobby,
Absolutely.
I had had to drive to Florida. Okay, trip over the holidays. We had a Disney trip. Flights got canceled. We got in the car. We drove for 2 days. Okay, so I spent some time driving through the Southeast, Alabama included, a lot of Florida. But I hit I went all through the Southeast, and we serve a lot of the Southeast. We have a lot of clients there. And it was so neat you saying that, like we held the city together. We're going through and we go through, I'm like, hey, these are our clients, this whole city, right? Next, all through there.
A lot of pride in that, right?
I know what you mean. There was pride in that. Yeah. And I know exactly what you mean. And we're by proxy, but there's pride in that for sure.
Yeah. So when a regulator walks out on a site and they go to one of our gas guys, and this is pride, and they start asking questions, whether it's OQ related or procedure related, I feel very comfortable because, Energy World Net does a great job in preparing our guys to get qualified. Young people in the industry, they may take it for granted, but when I first got into this, into the gas industry, it was 1999. It was just starting, and it was tough. We would do classroom OQs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so those were the days where we had to stop work to go into a classroom, and it was a whole cruise. Not sure it had the same impact. Now you have someone who's getting individual training. You can't beat that. I mean, they're sitting there, they're getting individual training. They're focused on what they're trying to learn, and then we go out and field verify. That's, to me, it's beyond what we could have imagined years ago.
I know,
that's wonderful. That's where the rubber hits the road, when you start to hear those type of stories and the realities of the passion and purposes that we all have in the industry and how they intersect and intertwine, and they go together, and one feeds off the other, and it's not taking from one and giving to the other, it's feeding back and forth. And I love that aspect. Bobby, I got to tell you, we could talk for hours, and I can't wait for James.
There may be a part 2.
Well, there might be a part 2, honestly. And getting back to it, I can't wait for James and I to step foot in your wonderful city and your utility and be able to take a tour, because I for sure thrive on tours and seeing things nuts and bolts. But this year we end our segments with asking a question.
I'm so excited about this.
Are you excited?
I don't know why. That's my favorite part always.
You want to ask it? You
No,
can.
I do not. I want you to.
Okay.
You're the professional.
Bobby, the question is, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Fantastic question. So I have a photo of myself. I think I was in the 3rd grade.
You got to
And
supply that photo if you
I
still
don't have
it.
it right. I can get it for you, but I
I
don't
need
have
it
it.
digital, and we'll put it in the show so everybody can see it.
I was sitting at a desk and I had pleaded with my mother, please, please let me wear a tie to school. And she was like, no, no, no. It was a regular t-shirt. I had a tie on. And I told everyone that I'm going to be in business one day. This is who I am. And I never let that go. So when I got this opportunity to be in this role, I told some guys and they're congratulating me. I was like, I should be thanking everyone here because this is my dream job. It's not a cliche. It's not something I'm just saying because I'm talking to you guys. Everyone around me knows this is my dream job. So when I grew up, I'm grown up. This is my dream job. I get to impact people. I get to share my experiences with them to make them better. And hopefully they'll pass me. And that would be my dream. So being where I'm at right now was a dream of mine as far back as I can remember.
That's awesome. That is a success story.
It's going to work, Jimmy. It's going to work.
I love it.
It's a good one. Tell you what, Bobby, it's been fantastic getting to spend a little extra time with you. I know we'll see you out and about.
Absolutely.
We're waiting on the invite.
Yes,
we'll be there. We'll teach. We'll do our keynote right there for you guys. We want to see how y'all hold that city together. Thank you for setting an example for this industry at Daphne, as Daphne as well. We understand how important it is to have high standards and build this next generation, and it's so awesome to see folks that are doing the same thing. So kudos on your work there.
Kudos is
Tell
right.
everyone we say hello.
Thank you.
And thank you for being clients for so long. But Bobby, anything we can do for you to let us know. Thanks for being on the show, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We
Thank you for what
appreciate
y'all do for the industry.
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, and tell a friend, man. Tell a friend about it.
Oh yeah, if you like what you see today, tell a friend, pass it on.
Tell them about Bobby too. All right, we'll be.
All right. Have a great day.